That's true. But also, like, most robbers, I guess robbers can come in the middle of the night, but like, people are going to be there in the middle of the night unless they're not home, like that if they went out. But like, why go in the middle of the night when people are probably home too? So, and I guess a lot of people who like are like criminal psychologists, they said like if a robber had a knife and the knife broke, like they would run away more likely than like get another knife to finish it. Like it does seem weird that he went to get another knife to make sure he killed them instead of just leaving. But also like to me, I feel like it could have been made to look like a robbery because all the stuff everywhere. Like I don't think robbery was the main goal, but could have been made to look like it was.
That's possible.
Yeah, so many possibilities. The second theory was like that it was a Korean person, like mostly because of the DNA and the shoes. But then since they weren't in the database and stuff, then it's probably not someone from Korea. And also, like, I mean, Korea is so close. It's like 2.5 hour flight from Japan. So, like, a Japanese person could easily go to Korea and buy those shoes. I mean, again, they weren't in the database, so, like, it's doubtful it was someone that went there. But you can also mail order shoes. Like, the shoes could, just because they were only made in Korea, doesn't mean it was someone in Korea who bought them. And I also don't know if they're accounting for like the resale shops because they have places like Goodwill. It's like, how do you know it wasn't?
Anyone could have bought the shoes.
Yeah. So I don't think, I think people just at first thought it was Korean because of the DNA and that was leaked to the public. So the public kind of latched onto that of being like, oh, it wasn't a Japanese person to like make them feel better. The third theory is it was three men. Again, like not really a why, but just that there were three men involved. And this is mostly just because of the taxi driver tip where there were three men like sharing a ride to the train station. So like they could have known each other. Because again, like how do you get a shared ride if you don't really know each other? But it doesn't really make sense because there was no other like DNA evidence found for like other people. Like it was only this one person. It's like how is one person going to be this incompetent unless it was planted again? And maybe it's not any of theirs. But it just seems weird that there was no other evidence of like two other people like in the house. And also why would they take a taxi instead of having someone like drive like a getaway driver if you have three people? Like that's weird. But some people do think like if it was just one person, how did they control the people? Like if it's four people versus one, but he didn't. It wasn't like all four were awake at the same time. Like he killed them one by one. So the fourth theory, kind of out there, but some people think it was a hired hitman from Korea, I guess. So this theory mostly comes from an author whose name is Fuyama Ishihachi. So I guess he's an investigative journalist, but also I guess that's like a pseudonym, and this like journalist is actually like mini journalist, like ghostwriting under that name. But they like wrote a book that implies the killer was a former member of the Korean military who turned into an international killer for hire. And someone hired this killer to kill this family. So it's kind of like a little out there. I don't know. It's like a novel. Like that's not real life. I know it could happen.
Well, some life imitates art.
Right. Yeah.
Or art imitates life.
Yeah. I guess in the book he claimed to have solved the case though. Like he said that he got a hold of a person in South Korea called Kaneda who says that he hired the killer who was Mr. Lee. And somehow Ishihachi says he obtained Mr. Lee's fingerprints and says they match the one from the case, but I don't know how he has the fingerprints from the case. Like, I guess if he's an investigative journalist, maybe he can get that, but like he's saying it's solved and it was this Mr. Lee that was hired by Kaneda, but like I don't think the police have taken this seriously. Or maybe they've looked into it and was like, no, this is. Because also, why hire a hitman? Like, they say the hitman was hired because they wanted the family to leave so the park could buy the house. But, like, some people
But
said
they.
that they did sell the house already. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but some of my sources said
Oh.
that. So it's like, and also, again, like, if this was a professional hitman, unless it's like you're planting evidence, so you're just looking incompetent, but like, how are you going to be this incompetent if you're a hired hitman? Unless it was purposeful or like Kaneda told him to make it look like that or something. I don't know. And why use a knife instead of a gun? But unless he was told to use it, I don't know. Like, there are like, is it actually someone incompetent, or is it someone that's just looking like that, and is this all like fake evidence that was planted? I don't know.
Or real evidence. It could be. What if it was real evidence that was completely untraceable?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like some like evidence from someone else and not the actual killer, or I don't
I
know.
don't know.
It just seems like, I mean, what is it? Occam's razor? Like, this is not the simple solution. Like, this is probably not it, but I guess it could be. Like,
It's possible. Anything
yeah,
is possible.
right. Yeah, it just sucks that, I mean, until there's like a match to the fingerprint, like in one of these databases, then it's just gonna be all these, like, any of this is possible, which sucks, but. Yeah, so the fifth theory is it was someone from the military, like either the Korean military or the US military is definitely an option. So, and since I don't know if the US has cooperated, then I feel like maybe it is someone from the US, like in the military. So, like, the main evidence for this is the sand, like in the fanny pack, because the sand was traced to the Mojave Desert in California, which I guess is pretty close to Edwards Air Force Base. And there was also sand from Murrah Peninsula, which there's also a US Air Force Base there. So it could be someone who is stationed around different places. And there are also 7 US military facilities in Tokyo, with the headquarters of US Force Japan, which is like the Air Force combined, like US Japan. That's in Yokota, which is only 18 miles away from the house. So, like, this, I feel like, is one of the better theories. Like, this is definitely possible. But, like, again, why? But none of these really answer why.
There's so many reasons why, and maybe it's not even what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? I mean, if it's that close, if it was someone stationed like at Edwards and then in Murrah and then in this place in Yokota, like, maybe they ran into the wife or the husband, got an argument, or, I mean, anything could
It could be
happen.
anything.
Yeah. But to me, it does make sense because, like, I don't think they'd have their. I mean, obviously, I guess they wouldn't have their fingerprints like the US would. So if I could have found if the US cooperated or not, but, like, I kind of think they haven't. If you're going to say it's like someone in the US military, then maybe the US wouldn't cooperate. I'm not sure. I couldn't find if they did or not. So I feel like this is a valid theory until, like, we knew if they had ran it and it didn't have any matches, then this wouldn't be a good theory,
Right.
but yeah, like, because, you could just be stationed there like a year or two and then be stationed anywhere else in the world. So, like, maybe they never went back to Japan again too. So I feel like this is very possible. And also, like, I mean, with the knife wrap, like, that's more with the Chinese fish factory people, or, like, I guess soldiers in the Philippines use this, but I feel like maybe other soldiers would use a knife wrap like that, like wrap something. And the use of the sanitary pads, like for the first aid, I guess that's common among, like, Marines too, like, specifically, but I'm sure other
Oh.
groups. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like this was someone who was more experienced. Plus, the fact that they were so calm. after killing. Like, this has to be someone that's kind of used to that. Like, if this was your first time killing someone and you killed 4 people, you would be in shock. And I don't think you would take a nap. You wouldn't be eating things. And you wouldn't be pooping in the toilet and not flushing. And it just seems,
That's not what you would expect.
yeah. Like, I feel like this is someone who is a little used to killing, at least. Something, but also, again, like, why? How would you leave so much evidence? If this was like a military person, there's no way they would leave that much evidence.
Anything is possible.
Yeah, anything is possible, but it's still. Oh well, I did think like they maybe were so confident because they're like a U.S. military person. Like maybe they were just so confident that nothing would happen. Like they'd be immune to anything. So maybe it was like a fuck you, like I'm gonna eat your ice cream and drink your drink and shit in your toilet without flushing. Like I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. So I don't know. To me, this is like one of the better theories for sure. The sixth theory is it was a revenge killing. So this would be kind of a why. So they think maybe someone from the cram school, like maybe they didn't do well on the exam and blamed like Yasuko and decided to kill her and her family for revenge. But like they did check everyone and no one came through unless like there was someone missing from like the records or something that she had tutored. But I mean, it also seems like, because it does seem like maybe a younger person who would be petty and like immature and like leave a bunch of stuff. So it could be like a student. Although, yeah, people in the military are also like 18 or older, so this could easily also be a young military person. Um, but yeah, a lot of people though do think it was someone at least like familiar with them because like especially with the mom and daughter, like it was so brutal, so it seemed like personal and like that it had emotion attached to it. So they kind of don't think it was just some random person. I mean, it could have still been, but um and also with the revenge theory, there's also the possibility like it was a skateboarder from the park, I guess. Because Mikio had like complained about the noise from the skate park before, and like some people think maybe this like angered the skaters enough to kill them, I guess. And like skateboarders do have like a reputation of being like punks and like petty criminals, like thieves and stuff. So like, and they're typically younger and could be more athletic because if they did actually go through that window, they'd have to be pretty athletic to get up there.
Like parkour.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess a lot of skaters went to that particular park like from all over Tokyo because it was kind of like out of the way and like tucked back a bit, so it was a little more private and they wouldn't get as in trouble with like the city people. And I guess most of them were like respectful, but there were obviously like some that weren't going to be very respectful, and I guess there were definitely like clashes between them and Mikio because I guess they weren't all aware of like the rules in the area because I guess like at night they're not supposed to be there, but they would be there like after dark. So Mikio would complain to them, and he also complained to like park management office a few times. So there's like documented times that he did complain. So like maybe it was enough to piss someone off. And the media also like latched on that this outfit was like a skater outfit, I guess. Like for some reason they thought it looked like a cool and fashionable outfit that at the time, at least, because this was 2000, but that would be worn by skaters. And I guess the police also said there was like some residue in the fanny pack, like maybe like grip tape residue that people like skaters would use on their boards.
Mm.
Yeah. Um and like some skaters didn't help the police either because the police did like interview pretty much all the skaters, and like skaters just don't like police, so they'd be like, well, I'm not helping you anyway. So that like doesn't help them look innocent. But I mean they're allowed to not help, I guess. But um I don't know. Some of the, I guess one of the podcasts I listened to though was really good, but they had like a skater on like as an interview from like that time that did skate at that park, and like that guy was like, this is not anything that a skater at that time would actually wear. Like the media just latched on to that because the